All right, today let's go over a little bit more of this. Yesterday we talked a little bit about the worksheets, and today we're going to talk about multiple alleles. Yesterday's flipped lessons, we talked about sex-linked genes and the sex chromosomes and being a carrier. Today we'll talk about multiple alleles. Now, multiple allele is when there is more than just the two choices. Okay, so blood type, which if you want to double check is on page 146. The different types of blood type are type A, type B, or type O. Now, most of you know there's A positive, O positive, A negative, but that plus minus is called the RH factor, and that is inherited totally separately from the ABO. So we're just going to talk about ABO blood types, okay? So instead of just having big T or little t to inherit, you can inherit the A or the B or the O, which is really odd. Now, obviously, you still only get two alleles, one from mom, one from dad. So if you don't have the B allele, you don't have the B allele. Yes? Yes, you can. So it turns out this is really weird because there's like a codominant, because the question was, yes, you can also have type AB blood. So let me give you my quick explanation into how blood types work. Okay, so here we have the multiple alleles. Let's clear this off. All right, so multiple alleles, we've got blood types A, B, and O. And the way I like to describe it, what these blood types are is a random mutation that happened at some point that causes a protein on the outside of the red blood cell. So if you get the A allele, your blood cells, red blood cells, have the A protein on the outside. So I like to draw it like that to remind you that the blood cell has the A protein. Okay? If you get type B blood, guess what you have? The B protein on the outside of your blood cells. So the B's are laying down like that. Okay. Now, trick question. What if you get type O? No proteins. Yeah, you guys are paying attention. No proteins on the surface of your blood cell. There you go. So here's the thing. If you get, so A and B are codominant. So if you have type AB blood, your blood cells will have A protein and B protein. But O is recessive to both of them. Confusing? Yes, O. So, if you have type A blood, your genotype could be either AA or AO. Right? That would be A-type blood. So this is type, and this is alleles. Okay? So then, if you have type B blood, what do you think you're going to have here? BB or BO. If you have type AB blood, oops, I meant to make that green. Type AB blood, you're going to have what? AB. And then if you have type O blood, since O is kind of a recessive, you have to have OO. So you might think, looking at this, that which blood type would be the least common? Yeah, you would think that OO would be the least common, but guess what? O is the most common blood type because it was the type of blood that everybody had until the random mutations popped up and started getting passed around. But it doesn't really matter what blood type you have unless you need a transfusion. And that, in fact, is when blood types were discovered in, I believe it was World War I, when there were these injuries out on the battlefield and they tried to give blood transfusions to save people. And what would happen is sometimes the blood transfusion saved the person's life and was awesome. And then sometimes it made them much more sick, and they got more sick or they died. And so they had to do a little more research to figure out what exactly was going on. So basically, what happens when you get a protein in your system that your body doesn't recognize? Your body fights it off, like having a bacterial infection or something like that, like organ rejection, right? If your body doesn't recognize it, your immune system tries to get rid of it. So you can only get transfusions of blood types that your body recognizes. Okay, I'm going to stop a minute and get some questions, and then we'll do a little. The positive and the negative, because there's any of these could be positive. You could have A positive or A negative, B positive or B negative, AB positive, AB negative, O positive, O negative. That's a separate protein that's inherited separately. And almost everybody has that Rh factor, the plus. The most common blood type is actually O positive. It's fairly rare to have the negative, but it just means you don't have that one other protein. But it's inherited separately, so we're just going to do this. It's a separate thing, and it's just plus or minus. Okay. Okay, so let's see here. I think this is what I just told you on the other. So the phenotype is this. The genotype is that. And there's my beautiful protein pictures. Okay, so let's do some Punnett squares. Oh, the other thing real quickly, so if you guys were getting at the universal donor, basically your body will fight off proteins it does not recognize. So if you have type O blood, you can only get type O blood, right? If you have type AB blood, you can get any of the types of blood, because type AB, would your body recognize type A? It would. Would it recognize type B? Yes. Would it recognize type O? Doesn't care, because there's no proteins. So that's just kind of a little thing. The universal donor is type O, because it can be given to anyone, and specifically O negative, although that's fairly rare. And the universal recipient is type AB. So anyways, let's do a Punnett square. So let's take a look here. Practice Punnett square for today. Cross a parent with type O blood and a heterozygous parent with type B blood. Okay? So go ahead and do it and see what chances the kid has. And then I'm going to give you a couple other Punnett squares in a minute, like this one and this one. Oh, look how much fun this is going to be. Okay. So start with this one. Let's go. And last of all, for a little bit of practice, we did these in class, but here are some Punnett squares for you to practice. I will slowly reveal the answers we did in class. So if you wish to try them yourself, you should pause it. Oh, this is the third one. This was the trickiest one. There you go. We'll go back to the easier one. And then the one we started with. All right, and there you go. That is our lesson for today.